Hello traders, and welcome back to another weekly market review. Today we're going to look at some of the trades available on a Breakfree Trading algorithm right now. We're going to go through some 4-hour trades in the daily. We don't have any 1-hour trades available right now. Hopefully, we're going to get some of those later on. We're not going to go through the 15-minute trades like always, just because by the time you get this video, they're probably not going to be available anymore. So we're going to go through some 4-hour and daily trades on the Forex pairs and some equities. The first one we have is GBPJPY. This is on the 4-hour time frame. It's a long setup, a long swing. And right off the bat, you can see we're in a consolidation. So you can see on the big picture here, you can see we're kind of consolidating in this range. So of course it's a big range. Basically what we're doing here is we're buying the support of this consolidation. So you can see we've been bouncing off this support multiple times, 3 times now. This will be the 4th time taking that trade or entering on a level. So this is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and this is the 4th. If it's the 4th time, you want to be a little more careful, so because that level is going to get weaker and weaker. So you can see we've already touched a strong resistance multiple times as well, which sometimes that builds up liquidity to push price down even further. So if you look at this on a daily, we might be able to see a better comparison of this. So yeah, on the daily, you can see the same thing. We've been consolidating on this kind of in between these 2 levels. So, the goal is to get an entry here on this level down here, get an entry here. And then of course, eventually break out all the way up into this resistance. And I just saw that now that we haven't even hit this R yet. A lot of times what we'll see is price go from one circle to the next. So we hit our support, we hit the neutral, we're now trading above the neutral. The next target would be this resistance here. So if we can get an entry somewhere on this level here, I think that'll be really good. And we can take it up to, this as a TP1. And if this breaks, you could even enter another time to this circle over here. So, but this is not a daily time frame trade, it's just a forward trade. I just want to cover some of the higher time frame as well. So right now we're in this consolidation, which is fine. But we do want to make sure that, if you didn't enter on any of these ones before, you want to be more careful on taking this 4th trade, just because the probability will be lower. The price could break this and go further down for a deeper pullback. But, it could bounce from here again. That's why I'm saying, if you've risked money on this before, you've made money on this before, it's totally fine to enter this again. If it's your first time, you might want to stay out of this trade. And with these TPs, you could maybe even modify them. So, the sonar trades or the 4-hour trades, they're not always going to be perfect. You'd have to use some price action to make some adjustments. So just based on this, you can see your first TP is kind of around here, and your last TP is here. My personal opinion, I would probably put my 1 TP here and 1 TP here. So these will be my 2 TP levels, and that's because we have a resistance here that we would like to get out on. So this here would be my first TP, and this here would be my second TP. We still got to fill this gap here as well. So we got to fill this gap that we opened today when the market opened. So this gap has to be filled. And lots of times you'll see is price will go up, fill the gap, and then drop back below. So my plan is to get out when it hits this neutral. Next trade is AUDUSD on the 4-hour chart. This is also a swing setup. This is a long BRC, and what the BRC is here, we're retesting this broken structure. So we had the break. Now we're coming down for the retest, and hopefully we can see the continuation up. So on this trade, you can see we've been fairly bullish. We just pushed above the yen. So this target up here is a really good target. This resistance up here as our TP1, and hopefully we can get a break up all the way into this TP2. And yeah, it looks like a good trade. You can see we've been really trending up nicely. So you can see we've been repeating this pattern over and over again, and now we're just kind of going with the trend. So hopefully we can get the retest here. Hopefully it doesn't drop further down below. If it does, no worries. We still got some support sitting in these levels here. So we got some support here, got some support here, and of course our stop loss is below this previous low over here. So if price does go below, we still have some really good room there for support, and from there hopefully we can see price going back up. Next up, we've got AUDNZD. This is a trade on the 4-hour time frame. It's a swing setup, a short swing, AUDNZD. Previously we had a trade on this that kind of was, I think the entry level was around here. If you joined the weekly Q&A, I suggested it's not a good trade to take, just because I didn't like the way price closed above the level. So if you did get out the break even, European drawdown now, but I do see this next trade as a little better trade. It's not perfect, and let me explain to you why I don't think this is the perfect trade to take either. Here's what I do like about this trade. So on this trade, what I like is it lines up nicely with this supply level here. So this supply level lines up nicely with our resistance. What I don't like about this is how local is extending over the global, and the global is getting very thin. So you can see on these other pullbacks we had here, when we had a pullback and a push down, a pullback and a push down, you can see if we look at the RTD, how thick the global was staying the entire time. So global trend was kind of staying very thick this entire time when those pullbacks happened. So you can see, you know, local is going into global, but it's still very thick, the global trend. Now, if we look at what's happening right now, if we drag this out, you can see at the bottom here, you can see the local is now above the global, and the global is getting very thin. That means those sellers in the market are slowing down, and there's actually more buyers coming in. So it's almost similar to what we're seeing here, where we had, so here you can see how local went above the global, and then global got very thin. So that's when you want to be a little more careful. Of course, you know, this could still play out really well because, you know, the price has to have pullbacks. But I would reduce the risk on this one just because it is a higher, or I would say it's a low probability trade as soon as local goes above global if you want to short. So that's my only concern with this trade. In terms of price action, it looks nice. In terms of the RTD, there's some things you want to be a little more careful about when it comes to the RTD. This is Baidu on the NASDAQ. I think we covered this last week as well. It's a long trade, a long swing position on Baidu. This is here the entry. I think it's a really good trade. This will be the entry here. We can see we broke this previous high. We have higher highs and higher lows. So yeah, this is the perfectly fine trade. I don't see anything wrong with this trade. You can see the local had a really nice jump. Now it needs to come back to retest global, and hopefully from there we're going to see it going up again. So yeah, this looks quite good. You can see we broke this entire range here. So nice expansion to the upside. Now we just need to retest or the price to come down for the retest. So this is beyond meat on the NASDAQ, a daily setup, a short on the daily time frame. This is something you want to be a little more careful with as well, because you can see on the local RTD, you can see it's expanding. You can see it's trying to cross over the global, and you can see the global is also getting very thin. So if we look at the price action, you can see we've been failing to break this level for quite some time. So you can see it's been bouncing on this level here for quite some time. So it's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 6 retests. So it's been bouncing that for quite some time, and most recently you can see it formed a new low, a higher low. So you can see it was always coming back to this level here. But now you can see it formed a new support here. So you can see it failed to break below and come back to retest this. So now price is staying above the kind of the 137.5 level, which means they want to push it higher. So as soon as they see something like this, a higher low like this, where it failed to break past back into that support level here, I know that they want to push it higher. So with the local, you know, going up, I could see this trade failing. So you want to be a little more careful about this one. Personally, this is not a trade I would set up. You know, I decided I'm going to start including some of these trades as well that you're not supposed to take, so that, you know, you can slowly learn how to avoid bad trades. Right? If I only include the good ones, you guys can't really learn which ones to take, which ones not to take on your own. Because throughout the week, there's so many trades coming and going. You want to be able to tell which ones are the good ones, which ones are the bad ones. So my goal with these videos is to give you some information that you can learn from, not to tell you what to do, not to sit you like a robot and tell this, take this trade, take this trade, take this trade. I want to sit here and tell you, okay, this is how we do it. This is how you should do it. These are the good trades and these are the bad trades. So hopefully that's what you guys will learn here today. Another quick note that I just noticed on this one is this was our high here. We actually created a new high and we failed to make a new low. So from this high and from this high, these here were our lows, right? So we actually failed to break this low. To go into the support, we always stayed above it. So most likely, because we have this new support forming here, we're going to push higher. If price closes above this neutral, we're going to push into this resistance and this resistance. So yeah, this is not a perfect trade to take. I'm sure, you know, feel free if you want to set it up. Personally, this is not a trade I would set up. So this is Cisco. Looks like this trade already played out. You can see we had the retest come in here. So this was a retest on that trade. We can see we just hit TP. So awesome. This is a good trade. If you set this trade up, perfect. Well done. Congratulations on the TP. Really nice trend here. You can see really nice big uptrend on both the local and the global. Looks really nice. And we're just about filling this gap. So we're just filling this gap right here. You might see some more bullish action, but we pretty much almost filled the gap. So yeah, this is a trade, you know, with stocks, if it's repeated once or twice, you know, be a little more careful. They tend to break more, at least what I've noticed on stocks. So I would skip this trade if you haven't set this up. I would just wait for a new opportunity. There's going to be a ton of opportunities coming out through the week. So yeah, Cisco looks good. If you hit TP, awesome, good job. Next up, we got Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. This is a long setup on the daily time frame. So this one is quite interesting as well. We can see we have this kind of this pullback here. So we got we got higher lows. More recently, we got some higher highs. And if we look at the entry right now, you can see it's hovering over the entry. If it's opening like this, or if it's opening with a gap up, I would definitely set a buy position here. Looks quite a good trade. You know, the probability of hitting TP1 is, I would say it's high. TP2 as well. I wouldn't try to overextend it into this resistance. You know, the TPs that are highlighted here are already quite good. Just because we haven't, you know, the previous high is like up here. And you can see we broke out of this huge range. So this here was a range before, kind of like this. And you can see we broke out of that. So we had a big push below that level. And now we're going back into that level for the retail. So, you know, right now it's bullish, but once you get into this territory, that's when you want to be a little more careful. We might see some more bears coming in again. So this short trade is totally fine. I can see this playing out, but I wouldn't really take it any further than this. So this next trade is plug. We called this out last week as well. Looks like it hit TP1. If you did get to entry here, awesome. At this point, it is a repeated trade. So if you did not get into the first retest, then you might want to skip this one. It's quite a good trade. So it's been, you know, sitting at $2 for quite a while. I think the most recent high was at 11. So right now we're sitting at 31. And if it gets to, you know, a 50, that's where you're going to say, okay, it's overvalued. But right now it's still at almost at a neutral level. You can see the neutral level was at 25. It was undervalued at, I guess at 0. So it's a pretty, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a fresh stock, but it is having a pretty big bull run right now. So, you know, in cases like this, you know, you can just ride the wave. So you can just ride the bull run. You can see global is expanding, it's very strong, local is very strong. Very nice pullbacks too. If you got into this, you know, hold it all the way up into this resistance, into the $50 mark. It's going to take a while, but it can definitely get there. Just keep in mind, you know, it will have larger pullbacks, right? So it can't just go up in a straight line, right? So it's going to go up, it's going to come down, it's going to go up a little, it might have a bigger drop, it's going to go up, drop again, and then it's going to go up again. So don't get too distracted by these movements with these trades, especially on the daily time frame. Set them up, forget about them, and just look back, you know, a couple weeks, or every other day, every other week, or maybe just once a month. Especially with the equities, you know, if you have a trade like this where the range is really big, it's a really nice trend, you can hold these for quite some time. Just make sure to not hold it too long. Make sure you have, you know, realistic targets. If you use these X mode levels, you can really hone in on really nice targets. You know, because basically, you know, if it gets to this hard resistance, people are going to start to think, okay, it's overvalued. They're going to start to sell this asset. So at $50, that's where you can expect price to start dropping maybe. And, you know, if it's on the neutral or slightly above the neutral or below the neutral, you can say this stock is undervalued. That's when you want to buy. So that's just a simple investing philosophy I use on X mode, just on these hard levels. So on the hard neutral here in the middle, on the hard R up here, and the hard S down here. Yeah, this looks like a good trade. If it does come back down, if you're not in the trade yet, be more cautious. Just because it's been repeated at that point, they're more likely to break when that happens. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Patrick. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.